so thirsty. Paul, we need to get to the tap downstairs. The problem is, I don't know if you guys realise, but Trev's outside and he's armed.
We just can't get past him.
What? Wait, Paul. Do you realise? Look, what's on your eyes?
I can't look what is on my eyes. That is stupid.
Well, sneeze and hold your eyes open. Your eyes pop out.
Alright.
And look what you're wearing. Paul, you.
Oh, do you mean these?
Trev's got those. Trev's got. No, you could do this. You are dressed for a time such as this. You need to get. You can do it. You can go downstairs and get us water.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll go get us some water. Take this with me as well.
Fighting fire with fire does not work.
So, people, who would have thought it? Paul Cable, what a hero. So, I hope you have enjoyed this morning at Impact, and if you weren't there, then hopefully you will enjoy hearing about it from somebody who was there. So, we've been looking this morning at Esther 1 and 2. Paul was taking us through looking at role models, and particularly we ended kind of looking at Jesus, our true role model. But this week we are looking at Esther 3 and 4, so hopefully you'll get some time this week just to have a read through. And again, just maybe just take some time and just simply ask God to speak to you through those chapters as you read them. It's always a good thing as we sit down to read the Word, just as we read the Scripture, just to ask God to speak to us through it, and to allow the same Spirit that wrote it and inspired it to open it to us so we can understand it. So this week, there's loads of stuff packed in these next couple of chapters. So we're just going to have a couple of ideas just to think about as you look this week. And particularly, there's a bit at the end of chapter 4 which will come to you. They're kind of almost like a pivotal point, which is about Esther and the choice that she has to make, a difficult choice where Mordecai says to her about going to speak to the king, which has all these kind of implications about putting her life at risk. But Mordecai says these famous words about if she's being called, who knows, but you have come to a royal position for such a time as this. And a bit like Paul this morning, that actually he'd been equipped, he'd been prepared, and actually he was maybe right and ready for that time. And actually what he did could have implications that go beyond anything, not just beyond himself, not just for himself, but beyond and to other people as well. And maybe just in that same sense, as we think this week as you read through it, maybe kind of think about what that means actually, to the kind of being part of that bigger story, and actually being placed in a situation or a context actually for such a time as this. And we believe actually that God has placed us, he has called us to the places where we are, and it's not just random, but actually God is working all the time, and actually we have that decision to make. And sometimes it might be difficult decisions. It might be like Esther, that actually has implications that might be quite difficult, and a bit like maybe we're at school and maybe God is asking us to stand up for something or to stand up for someone. It's like, oh God, you can't really be asking me to stand up, you know what that's going to mean. And actually we have that decision to make. But actually we have that example like Esther in Jesus, even more so, where he endured the pain and the scorn of the cross. He endured all the suffering and the pain for the joy set before him, it says in the Bible in Hebrews. And actually he did that in such a way that and did what he did so that we could be set free, that actually he was exalted, but it was in such a way that we are all now drawn into his family, that we can be called children of God. And actually maybe you have a chance to read through Galatians chapter 4 and verse 4, where it says about when the time had fully come, God's perfect timing. And a bit like Esther, it was that perfect timing that she'd been placed in that place for that right time, that she could then be a light in that place. And we read about her character in chapters 1 and 2, and even more in 3 and 4, and actually how her character contrasts with the other characters in the story, and her real kind of integrity, her quietness, her trust and her obedience, but also her honesty about the difficulty that faces her, but then actually her choosing to walk that path. So as you read through Esther this week, maybe have a little think about where you've been called, and maybe the opportunities you have to stand up, and maybe they might be difficult opportunities, difficult things, but actually having a think about what those implications might be. And I'll leave you just that kind of thought, maybe about a bit like digging a well. Actually digging a well, the prospect of digging a well is actually quite difficult. Like it'd be sweaty and hard work, but actually the end gain outweighs the pain and the exertions we might put through it. And actually that we don't just dig it with our hands, we've been provided with the right tools. We've got the right tools, we can do it, and God provides us with what we need. So So I hope you have a good time reading Esther this week, and we hope to see you next Sunday to explore in more depth these next kind of couple of chapters and look more and more at this story of Esther.
Steve.
Oh, Paul! I got the water!
You made it! Yeah! I only got hit a few times. Look at that. Just a few. Just a few. And do you want some water?
Oh,
you like some? There we go.